What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down fresh out, and you're tuned in to another interview. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, the like button, represent, support. And we got a special interview today for you guys. We have Cecilia, wife of a lifer, is her brand. And she's married to a lifer, and she's doing her thing. And we had the opportunity to have her fly out from Seattle to do an interview with us. So we're going to get her story and get some insight on what she's doing with her program and her brand. And yeah, man, you guys are in for a good one. So Cecilia, tell our people, our fans, a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I was born in Mexico. That's why you hear this accent. I moved to the United States 8 years ago. It was back in 2015. I was a normal, average person doing my work. At that time, I was curious about the criminal mind. As you can see, there's a lot of people that love to watch documentaries about criminals, how criminals end up doing what they're doing, trying to identify what happened. So I was into that, and one of those days, they mentioned the existence of a pen pal website for prisoners. That was my first time ever. I would have never imagined that people will actually write to inmates why they should do that. So that took me to this website, and I found Taylor Conley, a man who's serving life without parole, who is my same age. And honestly, I was like, if I were him, I would want to have a friend. So I decided to write to him, and things moved forward really, really fast. And a year later, I married him. So a lot of people ask me why you did that. And my answer is always the same: is he is my best friend, my soulmate, and I think it would be unfair for me to give my back to him just because where he's at. So that's why I took that step. Believe me, it took me months to make my mind to that, because it's definitely not easy to be in a relationship with somebody in person, especially with somebody serving life in person. So,
So as far as when you guys met through pen pal, I mean, how long did it take before, after you guys started writing each other, that you actually talked on the phone?
on the phone,
Yeah.
I would say like a month.
About a month. And then after you talked on the phone, what about before you came to visit him?
So since I started writing, it will be in total of 6 months.
6 months. So what was it like the first time you actually visited with him in the visiting room?
I was very nervous. First of all, I have that in my mind. I have an idea of the experience of going to prison. So it was totally different than I thought. You always watch these movies about how restricted are, everybody was shakes or whatever. No, it was easier, and actually Taylor made sure to have his mother come with me, so I wasn't by myself.
Okay.
It was helpful, and I remember the first time I saw him. And I was like, oh my God. It was really good. I think again, going through all this process wasn't easy. Like when I wrote him, I never imagined to actually go and meet him in person. It was in person. It was not my plan. So all the steps that I made, it was just like having to make my mind and convince myself, like, hey, Cecilia, this makes sense. Like, yeah, like normal people do that. So I really don't not regret. It was a good experience.
So before you actually started writing him, as far as out of curiosity, were you dating, any men over here in America, or had you been in any relationships prior to, meeting him and deciding to have a relationship with Taylor?
No, I was in a relationship before. Actually, I was in getting out a relationship with somebody from my country.
Okay.
So I never dated somebody from America. It was my first time.
Oh, wow. So that was your first experience dating somebody from America that was in prison.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, having a relationship, like when you first started visiting him, I mean, what did you envision? Was there anything long term that you thought there, or did you think that just something to do, or I mean, as far as just to kind of like create a friendship? I mean, did you kind of think that it would ever turn into like being married?
So honestly, the first time that I went to visit him in July, the idea of marrying him was in the air. So if we had developed something, I already had feelings for him, and he had feelings for me, but I wasn't sure about it. So I was just going there, kind of to go and get to know him more, because one thing is emails, another thing is letters, different thing is phones, but in person, the person is different. So first of all, it was trying to make my mind grab my idea to actually take that step, because again, it's not something that I just say, yes, I'm gonna do it. No, it was like a big step. And after we got married, what we're looking for is in Washington State, after 3 years of being married, you can actually stay with him for two nights. So we were looking forward to that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So it took 3 years, and then you can have a conjugal visit.
Actually, it took us 4. So before the pandemic, we actually got that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you said he's doing life without. I mean, does he have? I mean, what is he in prison for? Can you talk about that?
Yes, he is there for aggravated murder. So basically, and when you go to his case, you will say, like, it doesn't make sense. Because he was actually found guilty for 2 crimes, for felony murder and aggravated murder. So I don't know if you are used to hear the word of double jeopardy.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you look into his case, the jury instruction and how everything was set up, first of all, it was not him. And second is, everything was set up to basically give him the maximum amount of time. And the victim was actually a drug dealer. So it wasn't, it's a drug dealer, was a robbery in the house of the drug dealer, and that's what happened.
Is he appealing his case, or have you tried appeals, or?
Yes.
Okay.
He is appealing his case. Well, in Washington State, the concept called time bar. I don't know if it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yes. So when I met him, he had been already 10 years. Right now, he's hitting his 15 years, so 5 years in prison. So we have the time bar. The representation that he got was really nefarious, really bad. He is public defender, and all the other appeals, they really didn't help him. But after 10 years, he figured out that something was really wrong. So that's what we're trying to do right now.
Okay, so he's actually done a lot of the research himself now, and looking for, like, you know, he's seen that when he went to trial, he had like ineffective counsel, a bunch of other stuff that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I know you know, it's crazy because a lot of times on cases that are considered like misjustice, you know, they know that it's going to take you so long to figure it out that by the time you figure it out, they figure it'll be too late.
Yeah.
And so, you know, at that point, you have to get like certain affidavits, other things, and introduce it as evidence, and then try to get the case reopened. But they know it's hard. It's hard when you're in there and you don't have resources and you can't, you know, trying to fight. I mean, you go to a law library. I mean, you can only do so much, you know?
Yeah, it's like if suddenly they put me in person and say, Cecilia, go and research your case, I wouldn't know how to start. So I feel that nobody really has the right tools to actually be able to understand what's going on and to understand how bad things are. So right now, you're right. There are a lot of issues, and he had some help with another folks inside, you know, inside prison. There are a lot of people that research cases. So he had help. It's not only him. And we found several issues that would have given him a new trial. Not just one, but several issues. But the problem is because the time bar. Now they say, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, like, sorry, like, so what? I found this and I'm stuck. That's it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was 20 years, drug dealer.
Yeah.
Really bad trial, and he's serving life without parole.
So he was young then. I mean, 20 years old. I mean, you don't really know anything about anything. I mean, you're still kind of like, you know, so as far as when they're talking and doing stuff, you have no idea what's actually going on in court, you know, so it's hard to say. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, I understand because I've, you know, being in prison, I've seen guys in there who had life sentences, and basically the only way to get that life off, these guys had to do the research themselves and then prepare a brief and send it to like a law school and have them help him get it into court. So, you know, you have like, sometimes you have different groups of people who kind of take cases and they help people with cases in prison, stuff like that. Does he have are you helping him, like you guys got a team of people who possibly are helping him get back into court, or?
So basically, what happened is that he has some help inside. They came with these issues. We tried to find an attorney to help us, but nobody really wants to help.
Yeah.
Whenever they read murder, aggravated murder.
Yeah, automatic stigma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't even look at it, and then they want to charge all this amount of money to re-review the entire thing. They don't want to focus on the issue. So it's a lot of it's very difficult for us to work. So what we did is basically I have a team helping me out to retype all the issues, and we filed it last year in March, and we're still waiting to hear.
Okay. So going back to when you guys. When you first had the opportunity after 4 years to actually stay together, I mean, how was that? Was that like was it like nervous experience? I mean, you'd been married already 4 years, but you hadn't really, because in visiting, you're limited how you could actually touch and stuff, right? I mean, you can't really, can you hold hands in visiting?
Yes, you can hold.
But you can't really, can you kiss or no?
It's a kiss
at the beginning and the end.
And it all depends which institution are you. The place where he has been in 2 different places since I married him, since I met him. The first one, even if you touch his arm, they will start screaming like, no, it's the rules. But yeah, so how was the experience? I guess I'm the kind of person, even when I came here, I fly here to Phoenix to meet you, I'm the kind of person that doesn't believe it until it happens. So it was until we started I said, yes, it's happening. And that's my way of thinking. So once it happened, the first thing I remember I was calling him, and he complained that I was kissing him every 5 minutes. Yes, it's because...
Well, I mean, he should have been excited. I mean, shoot, you got your women kissing you. You've been around, like, man, you ain't had no females. I mean, shoot, he's been going crazy.
He was excited, yes, I know.
But he's just nervous or something, or just like...
No, he was fine. He was fine. I was a nervous person.
So, because like I said, visiting, I know, I never had to visit in prison, so I don't know what it's like in visiting. So I know, certain places are different. If you're at a camp, it's like really more laid back. But if you're at certain institutions, you got to sit there, they sit here, and you can only just talk, and, you can get something at the vending machine or whatever, from what I heard, but I know it's very limited. So, moving, when you guys actually have the visits where you can stay with him, I mean, how does that work? I've never talked to anybody that's actually had an overnight visit or a conjugal visit in prison. I never met somebody who was married in prison who had that kind of access. What is it like? I mean, are they listening? Are they watching you?
They don't listen, don't watch it, but I had to leave my cell phone outside, so it's basically a disconnect for me.
Okay.
The only thing that I have is a phone that you can call if there's an emergency.
Okay.
Like if I feel bad or whatever. But it's a house, has beds, shower. I can bring my food.
Damn.
But, so he cooks for me.
Yeah.
I let him spoil me, so he cooks for me.
Oh, wow.
There's movies, there's music.
Damn.
So it's like a weekend, like in a cabin without internet.
What?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's crazy. So it's like it's a little cabin on the prison grounds. Wow. And then it's like you got total privacy, and then you guys spend the weekend, do whatever you do, have fun, and then after that you go, and then it's like he goes back to what
And that is very sad and cry, but yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Conjugal visits, wow. So is that something that is just for people who are doing life, or is that for all the inmates, or just...
It's for all the inmates, and the state has its rules. I think they recently updated. Now I will have to just wait 1 year instead of 3 years. So you have to be married or be a close family, like father, mother, even uncles, cousins. So cousins no, but the uncles, the grandfathers, their family, and you have to apply for it. And of course, the guys could be anything. They could have been there for almost anything. I think not sex offenders.
Oh, okay.
Or especially domestic violence.
Yeah, they're not gonna let a guy go.
The domestic violence against women. They
okay.
cannot. They are not.
Okay.
A sex offender, no, sure, but definitely not domestic violence against women. And they have to be doing good, like no major infractions and things like that.
Okay. And how often do you get to see him as far as the conjugal visits?
So in Washington, he can have it every 30 days, but if the prison has a big population that got them, there's just a limited amount of houses. So it was between 45 and 60 days.
Wow. Well, that's I think that's a great thing because, everybody wants to feel human,
Yeah.
and one thing about prison is it can make you very barbaric, very animalistic, and just like cut off from society. And being able to have that interaction, I think is just keeps you
Same.
it keeps you civilized, and it lets you know that you're still a person. You're not somebody who that the world has forgot about, or you're not somebody who's just a number, because everybody's a number in prison. So I think I think that's a beautiful thing. So do you guys, so you pretty much get to see him do you make sure you get every 45 days or 30 days?
Well, because of the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the last one I have scheduled was for April 2020, so it has been almost a year.
Oh, shit, because of everything going on, huh? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I forgot about that because they're trying to limit it in and out as far as contact and stuff like that, huh?
Yeah, it's not even working, but yeah,
I know.
let's DOC think that it's gonna help.
Like it's gonna really do something, and the guards leave and go home. So it's like, what's the difference? You know what I mean?
Taylor, in the prison they have a population of 1,800. Last time I checked, 1,000 of them have COVID, so it's like more than 50%.
Yeah. So basically, it's like, yeah, you had it, and then it goes away. I mean, so what do you do? It's just like it's not gonna go. You know what I mean? So that's like a crazy situation. So as far as you guys now, how long you been married now?
We got married in 2016, so almost 5 years.
Wow. Okay, almost 5 years. Now, do you feel that being married to Taylor in prison, you guys have the same marriage type discussions and stuff as regular people, as a regular relationship, or is it different? I mean, what is it like? What is it like?
I would say that it's both. It's similar and they're different. And something that I would like to say, any prison wife or prison husband, in case they have a husband, is a woman married to a guy. The other way, the man married to a woman, is that you live in two different universes, right? Like one thing is prison and another thing is outside. And with somebody like Taylor that has been in prison for 15 years now, there's things that I cannot understand and he cannot understand. So the normal issue that you have in a marriage of miscommunication can be exponentially bigger because there's no way and he can understand what it takes for me to do something, or it's no way for me to understand what it takes for him to be doing good, having to deal with all the drama and all the stuff. So I would say it's similar but different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense because I mean, I'm married and then dealing with my wife, and then, hey, do you do this? Or I'm like, do you do this? And she's like, did I do this? Oh, I forgot. And you get caught up in your, but you have this time on your hands, so you're trying to manage time and get things done. And like you said, for him, he has so many things he has to do in prison. Plus, you got the guards, you got program, you got lockdown, you got all this stuff, and then you're trying to hold it down and do what you got to do, but you have X amount of free time, but you have to do other things too. Yeah. So to say, hey, you didn't do that? Well, like, what do you think I do all day? Sit at home? I got, I don't just sit at home and do what you tell me. I got to do all this other stuff and squeeze that in there. Yeah. So I understand, because I used to ask people, hey, man, did you get to go do that? I'm like, dude, I'll get to it. And, it's like sometimes, the day gets by.
Exactly.
So you try to get stuff done and you try to, follow up, but it's hard, it's hard. So, yeah, that's, I understand totally, because it's hard enough to try to keep a marriage happy on the street when you see each other every day. So when you don't see each other every day, it's even more difficult. You guys talk pretty much every day, or?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And then now in prison, do they have emails and texts and stuff too, or no?
They have emails. Right now he has the COVID, so he's in a quarantine unit. He doesn't have the email. But normally he has emails and intra Wi-Fi. So of course he cannot go to Facebook, but he can use the Wi-Fi to send us emails and receive emails.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, they didn't have emails when I was in there, but that's a lot faster than dealing with the mail and have to mail everything out and stuff like that. Because I know that's always a pain in the neck. Trying to stamps and then waiting, and the mail takes us longer. Where do you see your your relationship with him going? I mean, in the future, I mean, are you hoping to someday maybe have kids with him, or just right now, just kind of seeing what goes on with the case? I mean, what do you foresee in the future?
Having kids in my mind, even before Taylor, it wasn't something I was sure about it. Sometimes I want it, sometimes I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, even if I wanted to have kids with him, there's no way I can do it because I don't have access to him. So that's an open question, and I think I could have kids with him. I have thought about it, and I realized that if I really want to, the fact that he's there should not stop me to do that. I feel that I should be. There's a lot of single women out there that don't even have a father figure. I feel that I have Taylor in some way, so I think we could make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, you know, people ask me, I was like, man, do you want kids? I mean, my wife is older, so kids, you know, she wouldn't have kids. I would have to be a different situation, but I know having kids is just like, I think about the world and, you know, being able to provide all the resources for a kid. And it's just like, man, there's so many challenges now, you know, especially with everything going on. There's so many challenges trying to raise a kid and make sure that that child has the best of everything. Mm-hmm. So when you're not with Taylor, what do you do? I know you said you have, you know, Wife of a Lifer is your brand. What do you do outside of like when you're not with him and you know, or doing stuff with him?
When I'm not doing stuff with him, well, actually, like I have my full-time job. Then I have Wife of a Lifer, which is a brand inside of Design Conviction. So we have this magazine that goes to prisons, which is a positive message. We have the podcast called Life of a Lifer. We have a lot of things going on with that, which keeps me busy. So, but in my spare time, I'm actually learning how to ride horses. So that's what I do during the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I love horses, and it's an activity just started this year during the pandemic.
Okay.
Before I was like really scared about horses because they are big animals, you know. But now I'm enjoying that a lot. So that's like my hobby.
Okay.
When I'm not working, either in Design Conviction or my full-time job.
Okay. Interesting. Horses, yeah. My wife likes horses, man, but horses kind of like, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not really a horse guy either, because horses can, I guess, feel your vibe. And so my thing is like, you know, I'd rather get in the car than get on a horse, but you know, I respect them. They're beautiful animals and very strong, very powerful, and they, you know, they got their own personality.
Yes, they're like people.
They're like people. They're very smart.
Yep.
You know, horses aren't like, you know, a dog or a cat. They're like, you know, it's a totally different level of animal. So one of the questions I was kind of thinking about off camera was being that you're married and he's in there, and I've been around like a lot of guys who, you know, doing time and how it could be, you know, kind of stressful because you have a beautiful wife on the street or girlfriend, and you know, you don't know what she's doing, and you know, blah blah blah. And you know, my thing was like, it's like you can't really put your girl in prison with you, so you gotta kind of let her live her life, but at the same time know that she loves you. How do you guys, you know, deal with that? Because you know, you're still in a free world, and yet, you know, you maybe have men that maybe try to talk to you sometimes, or maybe make advancements towards you, and then, you know, you have to let him know that, oh, you know, but I'm married to you. I mean, how's that?
So I think everything about communication, and I think it can go both ways. So you guys, you're worried about us lying to you, and we basically, yes, I'm here in church, but actually in the day with somebody. And the other way around, there are a lot of people say that people in prison like to have several girlfriends, right? Like the girlfriend that pays for the food, the girlfriend that pays for the phone, right?
You know about that, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So it goes both ways. But when you are in a marriage, when you're in a relationship, you vow yourself to trust the other person. So it's like, and you trust another person because you think you're smart enough to have chosen the right person, that somebody is not gonna lie to you. So how we manage that is communication. So if somebody tells me something, I always tell him everything, and it's just because I feel that if I hide things from him, that could end up backlashing, or it's like lying to him. So we always share things with each other, and that's how we do it basically.
Now, when you met him, was he writing other women or just you?
He was. Is that really fun question? He was writing different people, but because again, I didn't write him because I wanted to marry him. So for me, I was just a friend, and he was writing other friends.
Okay.
But at one point in which the things went ahead, and without me asking him, he stopped writing other people because he felt I'm just losing time thanking the other people. I really like what I have with you. I like you give me a lot of support. You are really important in my life. You care, so I don't want to waste my time with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I trust him. He trusts me when I tell him that I live by myself in the house. So it's trust, right?
Now, as far as now on your side, being a woman and being like on the streets, do you at times like kind of do you ever think about like, well, man, this guy talked to me? Do you ever have any type of like doubts, or do you ever feel like that you're missing out on certain things as far as a normal relationship when you see couples on the street?
I had to be honest, and I want to tell you that I had never thought about it because I want to be honest with you, and I think if I say no, I had never thought about it, nobody would believe me. Right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But it's everything about putting things in a balance. So what I have right now, and I'm getting very...
That's all right.
What I have right now, what I could have, what I would lose if I... So it's about like if I'm willing to lose what I have or not.
Yeah.
And Taylor, he's a very ambitious person. He has run a lot since 15 years ago. He was hustling. I think you have shared before that it was everything that you did that brought you to be in person. Mm-hmm. Taylor, it was the same things, but he refocused his ambition, which he was lost, because his story is actually quite sad. He was 20 years old, but he before that had been sent to this behavioral modification program in Tranquility Bay. I don't know if you have heard about Paris Hilton and his movie about being in a school where she was being tortured. Taylor had something similar. So he had a difficult childhood. So around the 25 years old, he switched his mind, and now everything he's doing, all his ambition is about doing positive stuff, about helping others, about trying to stop people to coming back or people to even come in to the prison. So even that I don't have him in person and can hold his hand, I feel that the things that we're doing together is something that actually fills my life like in a really positive way. Without him, I wouldn't have that inspiration.
So that's good. I mean, being able to, at the end of the day, you made a great point. A lot of people nowadays are just looking for lust. Oh man, I can hook up with her. I can hook up with him. Oh my God, and they're doing all this stuff, and it's like it's hot. But what is the long term? You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to just hook up with somebody, or are you looking to build something with somebody? And when you build something with somebody, there's certain qualities you look for in that person that aren't what you're gonna look for when you're lusting or when you're just wanting to, have sex or something like that. So there's other things, personality traits. There's certain things like character traits that you look for, and that makes a difference when you're looking. When you talk about, I used to see, guys talk about guards and how, they try to get out the guy's girl, like, hey man, why he's locked up? Why you with him? Blah, 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 blah. And, dudes to get back. And, dude, that could be something, dude might want to do something to the guard because you're like, dude, you're trying to get at my girl. And just because I'm locked up, you wonder why she's with me. It's because the type of person I am. So a lot of people, it's hard for them to comprehend why a woman would want to, dedicate her life to being with somebody that's in prison when there's so many other people that are free. But like you said, there's a certain connection between you guys that keeps you together, I mean? And that's like, it's hard for a lot of people to comprehend because they've never had that type of bond. They've never had that type of, communication where, you're on another level. Are you pretty close to his family, or do do you communicate really, with his family that's, that visit with him?
Yes, they're actually very supportive. His mother and his father and aunt, they're very supportive of me. I couldn't ask for better family. I feel very supported. And now coming back to the point of grasping the idea, there's a lot of people that don't understand why I married him or why I'm still here. Even myself, before him, before everything, I would have understood it either. I understand it's difficult because it takes until to change your mindset. As I say, it took me a long time to make my mind. So I don't. I understand why people don't understand what's going on, because it's not something easy, and it's something that I will wish everybody. It's just for the right person.
Now, how does your family feel about you being married to somebody in prison?
Well, my mother was very supportive. Like it took me a while. So when I made the decision to do it, I didn't ask my family for permission or advice or anything. I didn't even tell anything.
Now, is that traditional for you to let your family know ahead of time?
I'm kind of a rebel.
Yeah.
All my family lived back in Mexico, and I
Okay.
live here in the United States. And I had never been the kind of person that, even as cultural, in theory, I come from a conservative family in Mexico. I always have been the black sheep. Like even that I do the right things, I don't let my family to write my life. So because I knew it was a difficult decision, I have my doubts. I didn't want to have their input to put more doubt on me, or to try to prevent me to take the step that I wanted to take. So that's why. But after I did that, I told my mom, I explained her, and I introduced it to him, and she was very supportive because she understood that it's about love. The only thing that she asked me is to make sure that it's because you love him, it's not because you feel pity about him.
Yeah.
But once I told her, no, it's real, she's totally supportive of that. My father, he couldn't sleep for 2 weeks.
You're his daughter. I mean, he's like, man, what you doing, huh?
Yes, and I get his point. His point was like, basically, you're setting yourself for something that's already going on. It's like, it is a situation, like, you cannot get around it. He is there. It's not like you are setting yourself for a life like that. And say, yes, I know. I said, well, you're smart enough, so you made that decision. After 2 weeks, he told me, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's deep. I mean, like I said, I commend you because there's not a whole lot of women that can do what you're doing, and then it's a whole nother level of commitment, man,
Yeah.
to really have that and be able to know that. I mean, you're dealing with a situation where he has life without parole, so he has to try to get parole to get out. So you guys are fighting a battle, to try to hopefully down the road have a situation where you guys can both be on the streets together.
Yeah.
Do you is there a support group? Do you have other women that you talk to that are also married to lifers that you guys kind of talk or network or anything like that?
I have a couple of friends, independent friends that I talk to, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm kind of private person. I normally don't share a lot, and it's because that's how I am. But yes, thankfully I found a couple of good friends to support each other.
Yeah, because I know I mean, to be able to kind of share certain things, I know, just like in normal life, I mean, shoot, just people I know, I don't tell people I've been in prison. I let them find out unless they see my show, and then they're like, oh man, they see my show, but it's like, man, I never knew you did 10 years, man. You never told me. I was like, dude, why should I tell you? Because, now you're going to jump to, certain judgment. Yeah. So I figured, we didn't meet, talking about prison. So I'm not going to tell you unless you ask me through something. So I understand. I mean, my family they don't even still ask me about prison. They don't even I did all that time and nobody asked me what it was like. So I know that it's a difficult subject to talk about, and a lot of people don't want to, they don't want to talk about. They just watch it in movies, and they think, oh shoot, I wonder if that happened. Oh my God, I wonder if this happened. But they don't want to ask you because they're too scared. Yeah. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of innuendos, and it's a lot of things that are said in secret. What else would you like the fans, the people watching, to know about? Wife of a Lifer. What else would you want to share with them about what you're doing?
Okay, so Wife of a Lifer is me, so you can find me on social media as Wife of a Lifer. But actually, Wife of a Lifer, that is me. runs this social enterprise called Design Conviction, and we have different things going on. One of them is Life or Lifer, the podcast. So Life or Lifer podcast, we have interviews done by my husband or interviews from people in prison. So if you want to hear their own stories told by the person that is incarcerated, please give it a try, Life or Lifer, the podcast. And another thing I would like to say is that coming back to sharing or not sharing, when I married Taylor, it was very difficult for me to start opening myself to say, yes, my husband's in prison. But within time, slowly had met people that would have been very acceptable of me. Like I feel the support, and I have gone to different events to talk about the social enterprise that I run and other things that we have going on. And I have been surprised by the amount of people who have been affected by incarceration. Almost everybody knows somebody who has been in prison. So it's like sometimes I'm really thank you, because you start this movement or start talking about this, how we can stop being taboo, and it's the way is to talk about it, right? So a small little channels have started based on your big project, and really commend you for that. I really admire your work, and I ask people to start coming back here and small little channels to talk about it, to spread the word, to make this topic a mainstream topic. Because everybody has been incarcerated. Like I will say, most of the guys, 98% of the Americans have been impacted by incarceration.
One way or the other.
Yes.
Through kids, family members, something.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's no reason why we should be taboo or radical. We're not asking anything radical. I feel that there is a change that has to be done, and it's overdue. So I really hope that slowly we can make that happen.
Now, I get, girlfriends and sometimes wives asking me about, man, my man's been down 10 years, 15 years, how could I help him, or what do you think he's going to do when he gets out? And it's like, I don't want to say anything, because I don't know the guy, so I can't really tell you what he's going to do per se when he gets out. But as far as like, helping him, there is, things he should have been doing already to prepare himself. What would you say to women who are dating somebody in prison and they are, getting out or in the process of getting out soon or working on getting out? What would you say that they could do to be supportive of their man?
Okay, so I think the key in here is like, how can you know if somebody is going to the right path? That person is involved in programs or doing something that is positive. So the best way to support them is to be there for them. I kind of call them accountable. Like, hey, I have heard a lot of sad stories, and I have to be honest, where this person stays in this relationship for like 10 years, the guy gets out and it doesn't work. I think any prison wife could be worried and concerned about that happening. So what I would say is make sure that the person you are in a relationship with is actually showing some change in their lives. Because there's two types of guys in prisons. The ones that are minding their own business and trying to do something that's going to be positive for them, and the guys that are just going in the same cycle again and again, getting in trouble. If they are in a relationship with those kind of person, the guys that are always in trouble, to be more conscious about who they are in relationship with, because it's even in the street, there are good people or there are bad people. In prison, I will say the same. I don't like the idea that everybody concludes that everybody in prison is a bad person. It's not. So how you can identify who are the good guys? The good guys are the ones that are keeping themselves out of trouble, doing positive things, studying, reading, writing, art, whichever type of positive thing. So I will ask them to inspire them to take that step if they are not doing it already. And if they're doing it already, to be supportive, to try to be patient with them. Having a relationship with somebody in prison is very difficult. It's very difficult. I would say that your man is gonna expect from you a lot. It's honestly is the truth. So be patient, inspire them to do the right thing. And if they are feeling bad or down and they want to give up, be there for them.
That's, I mean, excellent advice because, like, I try to just kind of give them a heads up as far as, like you said, the person that you're with in prison, by their actions, even though you're in prison, there's a lot of things you can be doing by your actions as far as, hey, can you send me in this study material? I'm trying to do this business course, or if a person is actually advancing in there as far as what they're requesting from you. If what they're asking from you pertains to things that are going to make them a better person, then you can at least give that person a benefit of the doubt. That they're trying to do better. Because I know for myself, I had to prove through my actions to give me the benefit of the doubt. Because a lot of people, once you get in trouble, they're like, "Ah, man, you did a bank robbery. You're crazy." People don't want to. They're like scared of you. So it takes a while for people to think, "Oh man, oh shit, man, he's not that crazy," and they open back up or want to, talk to you because, people are just intimidated. I'm a big guy already, so, people don't know what, kind of time you're on. So that's one of the things, like, you got to, kind of like be open to is not really judging a person off of what their circumstances are, but what they do, which is, it's a big thing. So, I think that's great advice, and I think that what you're doing is just something very special. I know, a lot of people, it'd be hard for them to kind of deal with that situation, and I've seen it where certain women say, "Man, if you get locked up, I can't do nothing for you." But while you're living a good life, they're all there, because you're living a good life, driving a nice car, and doing all this stuff. But when you get in trouble, it's like they just take off, and that's you don't never know how supportive a person is until you put them in a situation which they're challenged. So, you walked into a situation that was already there, so it's different because you're on the back end rather than the front end. So, congratulations on everything you're doing, man, and I wish you the best with Taylor, with your husband, and I think that, finding people like yourself that are that supportive it's a rare thing. It's far and few between, because even people on the street can't find that type of dedication. Guys out here looking, and it's just finding that type of loyalty. It's just a rare thing. So I commend you on everything you're doing, man, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And you guys, the links in the description. Cecilia, wife of a lifer. Check out her channel as far as what she's got going on, her social media, and we look forward to hearing from her more. And you guys support. If you got somebody in prison, if you're a wife out there, you're a girlfriend, feel free to contact her, for questions. And, she's a female, so she can give you answers I can't give you from a female perspective. And I thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Big Herc 916, fresh out.